we're back at the clinic
Again.
Not so early today though, a bit better.
Yeah, that's why it's now actually bright outside, because it's almost 9 o'clock in the morning, so this is a very late appointment for us. We had some snow this morning trying to get out, but actually it wasn't too bad once we hit the main road, so it was fine. It wasn't like last week.
No.
I spent my whole night stressing in my bed for no reason and looking out the window every 2 minutes. So yeah, so we're here now. I'm hoping to get a text to go in the next 5 minutes or so. And today we are looking at the follicles. We're looking to see that they're all growing and getting big and mature. And if all of that goes well, then they may decide to trigger for this Friday.
Yep.
Or they might want me back on Friday and to trigger on Monday.
Yeah,
that's
currently the biggest thing we're waiting for.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting to find out today.
We reckon those are the two options from what they've told us before. So
yeah. So we're going to wait and see which of those it's going to be. I am determined to ask more questions today. I want to ask about what the sizes mean and what we're looking for. I want to ask, like, how do they make the decision between whether it's Friday or Monday. I also want to ask, like, when will Sheila get another scan? So yeah, just like information to find out, really, isn't it?
The next steps, really.
Yep. So wish me luck. Oh.
Here she comes. What news today?
That was so funny.
Why?
Because so she definitely is a trainee.
Not the same one again.
Yeah, so it was the same trainee, but this time it was a different supporting nurse.
Okay.
Like a professional, they're all you know what I mean? Like the qualified one was different. And she was so full of the chat.
Oh, good.
And she actually works where I work, so we knew loads of the same people, and we were just like chatting away, and she was really helpful. So everything kind of looks good. Okay, so then I'm just going to call her trainee nurse for confidentiality. So trainee nurse did all the scanning, which is why it took really, really long time, because like she had to keep going back and like making sure she was doing them all, and then your woman would make her go back and but it was really good for me because she was explaining to her
so
like how to move it around and what we were looking for. So I was like, oh, really interested. So looking for them to be above 16
as an average.
No. So I asked her that about the average number, but I think it's just one or the other numbers. Above 16 millimeters.
Millimeters.
So she said that they're all getting bigger, they're all moving up the scale basically. So what they do is they go in and they measure them all, and like one bit was really sore because she was proper like digging it up, and I was like, oh, and she was like, sorry, and she kept doing it over and over because she had to keep checking, and I was like, oh. So she measured them all. I asked at the beginning, I said to her, thank you so much for taking the photos the last time, and she was like, oh, no problem, and we'll take some more for you today. The other one was like, yeah, we'll take loads, and no problem, it's all your information, you have a right to all of it. And I was like, yes, thank you. So she was really lovely about it. So at the end though, they said, oh, like, we never actually hit print. So she said, do you have your phone and I'll just click through them and you can take photos of them all. So I took photos of my phone.
Okay.
So I have some photos, but to be honest, like, I can't really see the difference from the other day. So I can't imagine that we will.
No.
So what happens then is they showed me the graph.
Okay.
So they plot your eggs on a graph.
Oh, okay.
And
your
they
follicles.
Sorry, your follicles on a graph, and they show you like where all the measurements were before, and there's like clusters of them, and then where they are now, and they have the line at 16.
Okay.
So I took a picture of the graph, and they were not happy about that. Well, your one trainee nurse wasn't happy about it because she was like, oh no, the reason we don't like you to do that is because I don't want you to start thinking that's how many eggs I have, that's how many eggs I have, like that's really unhelpful. I turned around to her and I said, I promise I will not blame you if we get no eggs, as long as I can see this chart and share it with Sheila, because it's really cool looking. And she was just like, all right then, and I was like, yay, and because I was stood like with my phone being like, I promise, and she was like, okay. I was like, quick. So I took a photo of the chart. So I will put the chart in, I think.
You're keeping me in such suspense.
I'll show you the chart.
I just want to know what they've said.
Well, they didn't say anything. That's all they said. So everything is looking good. It's doing what it's meant to. I asked what happens now. She said, to be honest, we are borderline right now. She said, the cluster of eggs, so I only have one that is over the 16, but she said that there's a whole cluster of them right under it, and when you get your trigger shot, they will all be pushed over it.
Right, okay.
So she was like, to be honest, you're kind of ready to go. Yeah. We could also kind of give you 2 more days. It's like either way. Okay. So we probably will go on your blood results now. So depending, so I found out, I asked why am I getting my bloods done, because I just don't understand anything ever. And she just said for estrogen, and I said, okay, yes, I understand that, but what is it for? And she said, okay, so it's to make, and I said, is it about ovulation? And she said, yeah. And I said, but I thought I had pro-stop, does that not stop that? And she said, it does, it stops everything at the time, but your follicles are now releasing estrogen.
Oh, I see.
So as your follicles are growing, they're releasing more and more estrogen to prepare you to ovulate. So we need to keep an eye on your estrogen levels. So she said to me that they will call today either way.
Okay.
I've made an appointment for Friday just for another scan. Okay. Anyway, she said just to do that, which is at 10 o'clock. Okay. But she said that she will phone today either way, because either we will come in for retrieval or we will come in for another scan based on my blood results. Okay. I think my bias, my personal preference right at this moment is I would like to be scanned again. Yeah. I like the graph doesn't look like A star enough to me. Like I want them all to be pushed up, because it's all very well to have like 32 follicles, but like there's a whole chunk of them that are lower down.
Yeah, but I guess the risk is if they all grow when you take the trigger shot, if they're already big enough and then they grow again.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know what the risk is. I think the risk is, if they get too big, or some of them get too big, they release too much estrogen and then I'll ovulate. So they need to find that balance, and obviously we'll do whatever they tell us to do, but I think that is just my very unscientific feeling about it, is that I would like my preference is they phone me and say, right, we'll scan you again on Friday. Okay. So we'll see, but if my blood has really high estrogen, they'll be like, no, we'll let it. They might get me to trigger tonight then, if that was the case.
But that,
oh no,
but that's tonight. Good that we know that, like,
exactly,
because we don't want it to.
So cool. So it all looks good.
Did you do numbers again? Like, do we know what the 32 is now? Or?
Well, we could count them from the graph. Do you know?
Yeah.
1, 2, 36, 37.
Oh.
So, but
it's not come down at all then?
No, but so I don't think it's coming down. I think the way I'm understanding it now is because the follicles aren't going anywhere; they're still going to be there. Yeah. But the ones that are bigger, we want more of them higher up the graph. So I'll insert the graph here and I'll just talk over it for a second. So you can see that there's 2 kind of lines going up. One is my scan on Monday and one is my scan on Wednesday. Yeah, okay. The scan on Monday, you can see that they're all a bit lower down. Oh, I didn't take it far enough over to show you what those millimeters are. Oh, that's annoying. Anyway, that line is 16 millimeters, so you can kind of work it out back from there, the black line along the top. So on Monday there was loads of them, but they're all quite lower down, whereas today they're spread further up and there's more. The black dots are one ovary and the orange are the other. Okay. So as you can see, they're kind of like moving their way up. One of the ovaries has really shot a load of them up. What do they both have? So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell as well, because the one on the left says that was like the highest one up that's at 16 mil is an orange one, whereas that orange one is apparently lower down now. But that also might be to do with the fact that it's 2 different nurses that scan them. But basically she said, we're really happy that this cluster up here, 10 millimeters was like 1, 2, 3, 4. It was about 5 lines under, 4 or 5 lines under the black line, and she said most of those will move over the line. Okay. So I counted down before, because this was before I took the photo. So it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So either 11 to 14 that are currently in the running, kind of. But if they gave me 2 more days, I feel like more of them would move up. Yeah. They also told me that they will go into every follicle regardless. Okay. So even the little follicles, they will go in and they will try and retrieve an egg, but they just don't expect those eggs to be mature enough. So that's why they won't, like, we might get loads and loads of eggs, but but they won't necessarily all be mature. And she kept saying to me, and every follicle won't have an egg, and I'm like, I know. So yeah, so I think like it all sounds good. We're waiting for a call later today to find out what's going on. Yeah, it's a little bit more ambivalent today, which is a little bit like, oh, like I don't. It's a bit messier, but I guess that's just how it is.
Yeah.
You know, qualified nurse was so funny, and she was like, it's time to be excited. It's time to be excited. This is the exciting part. Like, there's lots of unknowns, but it's time to be excited. And I was like, okay, I'm excited. And she was like, okay. Whereas trainee nurse is a little bit more like, don't get your hopes up. This is how it is.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want you... something that she's been told, like, trying to keep everybody's expectations kind of fairly
and she didn't want me
control.
she did not want me to take a picture of that graph. Whoops. Anyway, the other one was like, yeah, but it's your information, you have a right to it. And I was like, that's how I feel about it. Like, because technically I can apply to them and get all of that information because it all belongs to me.
Yours,
so I was just a bit like stubborn, and I was like, no, I'm just going to take a picture. And she was like, okay. So
cool.
But I think she's right in a way, because I will obsess over that graph and I will look at it and count all the numbers and stuff. But I would have done that anyway and just not had the right information.
Yeah, you'd been trying
I would have
to
been like, how
remember,
many was, maybe there's 8, maybe there's 10, oh, I don't know. Whereas now I can actually just look, and I do know that we might still get none. We might get 5, we might get... The other thing she said to me actually, which I think is worth kind of noting, I asked, how do you make the choice between when to go in? And she said, we like to see about 6 of them.
Over the 16?
No, just like, I think in that cluster. They don't have to be over it to trigger, because they know they will go over, because that trigger shot also gives them a last boost of maturity. So she was like, we like to see about 6 of them and then we'll go for it. And I was like, I'd like to see more than 6, but I didn't say that, because obviously they're going to do what they're going to do. But I wonder if that's where the other nurse got the whole number 6 from. Remember the last one who was like, just aim for 6, aim for 6. Maybe they don't let you get 15 of them over the line because they're too scared you're going to ovulate. So I know that in, like, when I've watched other videos, I know that people have had like 15 eggs.
But you still might. Do you know what I mean? Like, because there is a few sitting there.
I think the way I feel about it now is that we're probably likely to get like, I want to say 6, but that would annoy me to be that they were all right. Maybe 8. Maybe we aim for 8.
8 what?
Eggs. Yeah, 8 eggs. The reason I'm a bit sad about that is because I've had it in my head, rightly or wrongly, and I suspect wrongly, that if we got 6 embryos, we would be likely to have 1 baby. And we really want 2 babies, if we're honest. Obviously we want 1 baby from this cycle, but I would really love if we could get 2 babies from this cycle and not have to do this part again. But that's like the dream. Like, I get that that's not necessarily a reality. So in my head I was always like, oh, if 6 embryos equals 1 baby, then I want 12 embryos.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily
It's not true
either.
no.
6 embryos could equal 6 babies.
No, sure, I know people who've had 2 embryos and have had 2 babies. Actually, the nurse was telling me a story about somebody that was in recently who's a single mother by choice, and she had 2 embryos and they put them both back in because they weren't good quality, and she now has triplets as a single parent. I was like, I don't want triplets. Please don't give me triplets. And they were laughing. They were like, we don't have that much control. So yeah, feeling good. I don't really like the ambivalence. I want to wait and see what the phone call says, and I think very secretly I would like them to scan me again on Friday. That is my personal gut preference about it, but that is me wanting more and more and more, and I know that that's not always the best thing, and I would hate to watch this video back and be like, oh, I ovulated because I was like, you know, well, like,
we'll do whatever they say.
We will do whatever they say.
So if they phone and say, no, we're taking them out on Friday, you're not going to say, no, you're not.
Yeah, and we have acupuncture today, so hopefully that will help them grow a little more. And then I'm still taking the tablets, I'm taking like the supplements. I've got Ovally. So they also asked me how much more meds do you have, so they were really on top of that. And that was fine. And I was laughing because again they went to scan. The same trainee went to scan and was like, oh, you have a coil. Oh yeah, you're the one who's not carrying. And I was like, yes, I'm that one. I am the one. And then the other one was like, oh, do you not fancy carrying? And I was like, yes, I do, but you know, my partner is in her 40s and it made more sense. And they were like, oh yeah, it's lovely to share it. And they were really nice about it, but they were asking, and I was saying I would like to carry future ones, and they were like, oh, so we'll see you back. And I was like, okay, one thing at a time, but yes, hopefully. So yeah, no, it was really good though. It was like really It was just really positive, I think, was the main kind of feeling about it all.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel good.
Good.
So the consultant has had a look at your scan with your blood results
Mm-hmm.
and is happy to keep you going. So you're going to come back on Friday.
Okay.
I believe you booked that appointment already, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, for 10.
Okay, perfect. So you're going to keep going with exactly what you've been doing medication-wise, and we're going to see you again for a scan and blood on Friday.
Brilliant. Okay. And I assume I don't need to get any more medication or anything then, do I? Because I've got 4 more days. So
Yeah, that will be fine. So I think we'll just have to wait and see what we see you on Friday.
okay.
But potentially you'll be in collection Monday. So that would
Okay.
be, you've got those tonight, you've got one
Thursday, Friday,
Friday,
Saturday.
and Saturday.
Yeah.
You should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because if I was coming in on Monday, would the trigger be on Saturday?
Yes,
And then I don't take any Overleap on Sunday?
exactly.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. That's great. I'll see you on Friday.
And Sheila just carried on. No instructions.
Okay.
No instructions for Sheila.
Perfect. Well, once we just know what we're doing with me, is that when then we'll get some instructions for her?
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
You will. Yeah?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye now.
Okay then.